So things could not be worse for Yahoo, particularly as relates to its approach to security, or apparently lack thereof. Joining us to talk about Yahoo's latest blunder is Ian Thompson from The Register. How's it going, Ian?
It's been a frustrating and deeply, it's one of those days when you want to punch something very, very hard.
I can understand your plight here. So tell us a little bit about what Yahoo has done this time. What have you done, Yahoo?
Okay, well, Reuters broke a story today that Yahoo had allowed, since last year, Yahoo had allowed the intelligence agencies to basically have a free pipe into its email accounts and allow keyword searches amongst all its millions upon millions of users' emails. Now, Yahoo hasn't specifically denied the story. They've given the rather mealy-mouthed, we have always complied with US law, which is basically confirming without actually confirming. If this report is true, and it looks to be true, then basically Yahoo has taken has treated its customers very badly. I'm going to have to restrain my...
I wondered if you were going to go there.
On this, yeah, no, I know we Brits have a reputation for being cultured and that sort of thing, but a case like this really does get my goat up, because basically they've said, it's only customers' emails, I'm sure it's not very important at the end of the day, and we're told it's legal, so fine. So why don't we do this? And we have contacted a number of other companies about this today, and Google were absolutely unequivocal, came back, we've never had a response request like this, and if we had, we'd have a 2-word response back, which is no way. Facebook as well come through, Twitter, Microsoft. All the other tech companies are saying that this was not something that they would get involved with at all, and yet it seems that Yahoo has a rather slightly different attitude to their customers' privacy and security.
Do we know what kind of information was being requested? What keywords were being placed on these incoming emails?
Well, according to the Reuters report, it was pretty much any keyword. Which, I mean, obviously with keyword searches, you've got to be very careful, because if you use generic words, then you get far too much data to actually analyze. If you use very specific words or specific spellings, it's much more handy for that. But certainly, if the report is correct, that this was a very, very extensive pipe into the emails, so much so that Alex Stamos, who Yahoo had hired just the year before to beef up its security, when he found out about this, basically stormed out of the company when they refused to shut it down. There's also reports from within the company that the backdoor itself was so badly written, anybody could have found it and used it. So basically, that's the problem with these backdoors. Once you build them, there's no way to guarantee that only the people you've told about them can actually use them. Once the flaw is in there, it is open to all.
How exactly does this differ from previous discoveries, things like Prism and Upstream? I mean, this seems, by all accounts, when I was kind of reading about this, it's a very different take on something familiar. What's so different about this time?
Well, the difference in this is that it appears to have allowed the intelligence agencies access to content of communications rather than just the metadata that's surrounding it. Now, metadata is absolutely critical, particularly if you're tracking somebody, because it allows you to build a network of who is contacting who and when and for how long. And actual content itself is usually pretty awkward to get through, because you've got to open it and then get a human being to read it, because machine algorithms aren't that good at getting sarcasm or jokes or stuff like that. But if the reports are accurate, it seems that Yahoo simply allowed a complete access to content. So anybody with a recognized clearance, or a contractor working for an agency which will give them recognized clearance, could go into any Yahoo email account and look for certain keywords within that. And that's the really big difference. This isn't just, so-and-so contacted so-and-so on this day. We had a case today with Open Whisper Systems, being subpoenaed to give information to an investigation in Virginia. And because they don't keep all this stuff, all they could give them was when the account was opened and the last time it was used, and good luck with that, mates. Whereas Yahoo is giving them the whole enchilada, if that's the correct American phrase.
That works.
But it's a lot of data. I mean, it's content, it's metadata, it's the whole thing. And they just apparently have handed this over in a way that no other company, if their statements are to be believed, is doing.
Would Yahoo be compelled by law to do this? I mean, I know you're saying that some of the other technology companies are saying no way, that they would not do this if they were in that same position. But I mean, if the NSA or the FBI comes at you and compels you to do this, Do you have a choice?
Oh, certainly. You can always fight it. Look at Apple and San Bernardino. Look at some of the things Google has done as well. I mean, we've been in contact with the ACLU and EFF to find out exactly what kind of legal justifications could be given for this, and Yahoo say that it was legal. I mean, the fact of the matter is that in the plethora of laws that you've got over here relating to surveillance, I'm pretty sure you could find a DOJ lawyer out there who could give you a legal justification within certain laws. I mean, for goodness sake, they're using laws going back to the 1700s to get hold of some of this data.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'm sure there would be a legal way to do it. But as to why they fought it, well, I mean, you've got to remember Yahoo did try fighting sort of subpoenas for information before, and it lost. So it's possible they just decided, well, we're hemorrhaging money as it is. Do we really want to spend this money on lawsuits? Whereas Google, Facebook, and others will fight this kind of stuff, mainly on principle, but also because they're in a much better business position than Yahoo is. Yahoo, let's face it, is not exactly the poster child for financial health at the moment.
That is absolutely true. Do you think any of these, I know the previous kind of security revelation around Yahoo has had the potential, because it was them literally dropping the ball, maybe not necessarily working in conjunction with the government, but, working to kind of make themselves less secure and vulnerable. So that, had the potential of affecting the sale to Verizon or maybe influencing the sale price. Do you think this would have a similar effect?
Well, the chap in this office who wrote the story, Sean, was just basically, we were discussing this earlier, and he said, if I was doing Verizon's due diligence, I'd be looking at that 4.8 billion price tag and thinking, what actually are we buying for this? We're buying a company whose email users are leaving it by the millions. We've got a company who has shown very, very bad judgment so far, and not one with a really great future. If I was Verizon right now, I would be playing hardball on price with Yahoo and consider withdrawing the offer, because you could get a much better price 6 months from now. I'm already getting emails from readers just like, how can I get my Yahoo email emptied out? How can I get my Yahoo data backed up and off their servers? So that they don't get this kind of access. And this is from normal law-abiding people, including my wife. But everybody wants out at the moment. It's just, this may be the straw that breaks Yahoo's back.
So then how do you do it? If somebody wants to kind of clear it out, do you have advice for them?
You're going to be facing a bit of a long job, particularly if you're a long-term user at Yahoo. I mean, the company's email, the company does have a web page up on this. I should imagine there's going to be a whole plethora of articles coming up at the moment. In fact, I'm sort of researching. I'm having a look at one at the moment to try and explain to readers how you can get this out. The problem is it's not in a company's particular interest to make it easy for you to switch out your emails.
Right.
And many of Yahoo's users have been using them for a very long time because it was one of the first companies out there doing webmail. So it's going to be a long, hard slog. But at the same time, I just can't see people trusting Yahoo on this anymore. I mean, largest email breach just a couple of weeks ago. Now the company's in fairly shaky financial position. If they go bust, then all that data is going to go up for sale anyway. So yeah, I would say get your data out now, put up with a little inconvenience in the short term, and in the long term, your data is going to be much more secure and your privacy will remain intact. Or
so you hope. The kind of trick. Yeah, as much as you have any sort of control over. The problem is, even if you go in there and you delete your account, are you really deleting it? You're basically deleting your access to it, but that's about it.
Yeah, this is true. And I mean, it may be that there's copies on Yahoo's servers, but given how they run their IT department, do you think it's going to stay there that long? I mean, it's
a good point.
Yes, it's always difficult removing a digital footprint from any, particularly, from services or online in general. But I think in this case, the effort has to be made because this is just, what with this, the revelations we've had about the war between Alex Stamos and Marissa Mayer about security in the first place.
Right.
It's just looking increasingly dicey for a company which, maybe just should have shut down a while ago. Yahoo doesn't really know what it is at the moment. It appears they've got a bunch of wankers in management who care nothing about their customers. So, yeah, I think it's probably time to go.
Yeah. Ian Thompson from The Register, always a pleasure getting you on this show, even though sometimes the topics are dire. So maybe pleasure is the wrong word, but I enjoy your take on all this stuff. So thanks for joining us today.
I enjoy talking to you too, and maybe one day we'll have some good news we can talk about.